Hi honeys, welcome back to my channel. You might be wondering why I'm sitting behind this tank, and that is going to be the subject of today's video. So what I have done is I have built myself an aquaponic system for inside the house, which means this isn't just a tank, this is also a herb garden. You can't see it in this frame, but if you look just up there, which I will show you once I've got everything set up, that has a grow bed that cycles from the tank into the grow bed through some special clay media and then back down into the tank, and it fixes the nitrate, nitrite, ammonia cycle in the tank so that all of the nasties come out and go up into the grow bed, so all of the waste products and anything harmful to the fish will go through, get processed by the plants, which they'll use to grow, and then the water system will be improved by the plants as well. So I'm going to take you through how I did all of that now, and if you want to, you're welcome to try it yourself as well. I also filmed this over a couple of days, so I might look a little bit different just because I wanted to make sure that everything was safe for the fish. I also wanted to mention that the water that I used was already ready to go and already had beneficial bacteria established. I had it set aside, so I wasn't just putting them straight in. And I also, I mentioned it later in the video as well, but just make sure that you're using dechlorinated water as well for this one. And here we go. I'm also going to show you a little bit from the hopping mice. They're doing really well. They've probably got another week or two left with the parents before they'll be ready to go off to their new homes. What I'm starting out with for the first part of this project is just a 2-foot tank that I got on Gumtree for like 20 bucks, so pretty cheap really. And then I've also got like a polystyrene base on that, which cost me about $8 from a pet shop. Okay, so I went out and got some shelving that will fit everything that I need. So the tank, and then the second level that will have my grow bed on it, and then another bit on top so that I can fix the light on. I've got some zip ties to do that. I've got some 19mm tubing, which I'm going to use as a feed from the grow bed back into the tank. And I've also got my clay pebbles, which are going to go into my grow bed, and that's what's going to be used for the plant substrate. I just got this from my hardware store, but you can get it from like a gardening store as well. It's commonly used for hydroponic setups. And then I will show you how this all goes together to make your own aquaponic setup. Alright, so now I'm going to use a kitty litter tray to make the grow bed. So just a regular kitty litter tray from wherever. I got mine from like Kmart or something. And then I'm going to use what's called a high flow thread tap. So you can see, you can find these in your gardening section of your hardware store or gardening store, depending wherever. So it's just like a little tap thing, and what I'm going to do is drill that into here on one side, so on the shorter side about that far up, just so that there's enough for the water to gather and then pour out once it gets to that height. And I'm going to get a water pump going from the tank feeding into the other side so that it'll flow across. So I'll get that done now, and you just want to make sure that the hole here that you put for this. I've got a tap on this so I can adjust how quickly it flows out as well, but you want to make sure that the hole is going to seal really, really tight. So this one has like a little rubber seal on it, but just make sure that you do that so that it doesn't get a leak on the side here. So I've got it all set up now. I've got the tank in here ready to go, fish ready to go. I've put in my air stone. It's also really handy to soak your air stone, if it's the sort of sand compact type, for at least 10 or so minutes before you turn it on. That just helps improve the life of it. I've cut my hole in my kitty litter tray and I have put the tap through, so that just pushes through the hole and seals here with a rubber grommet. Make sure it's watertight before you put it up. I've already tested mine. And now I'm going to modify the pump so that will go in here, and I'll put the clay balls in here, and this will be my grow bed. All right, let's do this. All right, now you're gonna get a rough idea of how much you wanna cut this. So to do that, you just line it up on the side and see how it will go once you feed it through the bars and get it about, I'm gonna try maybe halfway down the tank to start and see how I go with that. All right, I'm gonna screw it on. That will be fine. Once I've weighed it down, it should be fine. If not, I'll heat it up again and just bend it. All right, now I've got my clay pebbles. Wish me luck. Hopefully I don't tip everything over. Grow bed. Okay, so then the next thing we need to do is get the water from here to here. All right, so the way that I'm going to pump the water is just by using one of these, which is just an in-tank filter that pumps the water, and I'm just going to modify it and take it up with some hose and one of the fittings that comes with it up into my grow bed. Okay, I may have had to run out to my hardware store again to get some more tubing because I'm a goose and the airline tubing is the wrong size, unsurprisingly. So what I've got to do this modification is this Aquaponic filter and one of the fittings that comes with it, which I'll show you in a second when I get it out of my bag, because I had to put it in my bag so that I could find the right tubing. And so this is an 8mm tubing, and that's what I'm going to use to hopefully, if it's got enough power, I'm about to find out, run my water up from my tank and into my grow bed. I'll just find the fitting that it works with. Give me 2 seconds, just so that if you do get that filter, you'll know exactly which one to use and it'll make your life easier. Okay, from memory it's this one. Let me see if I'm right. Yeah, okay, so it's the filter that looks, excuse my hands, but I have a genetic condition and they're wrinkly, I'm sorry. But it's the filter that looks like that. And all you do is drop stuff all over your floor. All you do is get the filter, put it in like that, and then cut this to the size you need to get it up into your grow bed, and that goes onto there and then up into your grow bed. So I'm going to do that now and wish me luck. I just realized that my light's not on. Wonderful. Much better. Okay, so I've just put that onto there, used a little bit of hot water like I did last time, and then it just fit on really easy. I'm going to put that into the filter. I'm going to plug it all in and hopefully chaos will not ensue. Okay, so that goes in like that, and then that goes into the tank, and that goes up into my grow bed. One last thing I am going to do before I do all of this is the clay pebbles up the top. I'm going to give them a bit of a rinse out because they did look a little bit dusty and I don't want any of that gunk in my tank. So I'm going to go through, rinse those out now. The easiest way to do that is just with a strainer and some and some water, and then I'll put them back up as they were and plug this all in, and fingers crossed it'll be a sweet deal. Now, it might be a little bit cloudy just because the sand has been a bit stirred up. I did clean it all. It's just that's what happens when you pour in water, and it was really hard to get it up there, so it stirred it up a bit. As for the fish, don't worry about them. One, the water in there is not tap water. It's water that I've had ready to go with beneficial bacteria already added in and dechlorinated and all of that. And they will be fine in that bag. I've got them from the shop and they have a whole lot of oxygen in the bag. So it's actually better if I'm going to have them acclimatizing to keep the bag sealed than it is to open it, because it gives them more oxygen. So don't stress about that. And I'll be back once I've given these a rinse, and I'll put this in and we'll see how it goes. Alright, so in doing that I made a discovery, and that is that my media can unsurprisingly get through here and go out the tap. So what I'm going to do is just put probably some silicone or maybe even a zip tie if I can get it to work onto here, and just cover that there. And this is just a little thing that one of my plants came in, but pretty much any sort of cover that's not completely going to block it but will stop the media getting in should be fine, just to hold it in place. Alright, that is all cleaned up, so I'm going to put it all together now and then we'll let the fish out. Okay, so far everything's working fine. I'm just going to wait and see now to see if once it does fill up in the grow bed, if it does go back down into the tank and cycle without overflowing. If it does, then we're good to start planting. Okay, we have good news. So I don't know if you can see it, I'll zoom in a second, but the water line that is returning back into the tank is successfully draining through. So all that's left now is to plant some seeds, release the fish, and then I'll update you as we go. Alright, I've got some coriander, some mustard greens, some parsley, and some basil. Here we go. It's the next morning now, and I have made a few changes just to the lighting setup. So I've taken the aquarium light and I've just fixed that to this position here to light up the tank, and I've moved a spare reptile light that I've put a cap on just to keep everything out of it at the top to the top here, so that that's a light source for the plants in the grow bed. I've got my seeds in, but they haven't sprouted yet because it's only been a day, and everyone's doing really well. Alright, thanks for tuning in, and if you did try and make this one at home, I hope it went really well. Otherwise, I hope that you enjoyed just watching how I did all of it, and maybe learning a little bit more about how to build something like an aquaponics system that can work inside your house. And the other thing that I need is I've got two like little cleanup crayfish, and I've also got a fantail pearl scale and a fantail goldfish. I think are females, but they're still very young, so you can't really tell 100%. But they need some names, so if you'd like to give me some name suggestions, pop them in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. Have a good one. Okay, as you guys probably know if you've been following me on Twitter, I've been pretty sick for the last week or so, but I wanted to add this just to the end of my video, seeing as I have taken so much time to upload, and that is this little update right here. So we have sprouting, which is really exciting. It looks like just the mustard greens at the moment, and I've also put a basil cutting in here that seems to be taking pretty well, so this is officially working. I'll see you next time.